Welcome back to Have You Met Her Yet? Today I have Chef Giulia Lombardo, who is the host of her very own YouTube channel called Just Giulia. Giulia, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So before we get started, I wanted to know if you can share with us a little bit more about yourself. What's your story? What is it that you do? And how did you get to where you currently are today in your career?
Yeah, so I'm a chef by trade, and I'm also super lucky that cooking is actually my passion. I grew up in the restaurant industry. Both of my parents have Italian restaurants in East Van. I was literally like 5 years old, running around the kitchen. We had a pizzeria, so I was always, making pizzas and playing with dough and that kind of stuff. And when I got a little bit older, I realized that this is actually a career that I want to pursue. So I went to culinary school. I did lots of different kind of volunteer stage stuff around Vancouver because I really wanted to make sure that I was getting a wide range of experience, not just from my family's restaurant. And then all of that kind of just built and built and built. I spent a little bit of time working in London with
Oh,
Wolfgang Puck, which was like my dream come true.
wow.
Yeah. And then so just recently we sold Lombardo's in 2019. And now this is a really exciting new chapter for me because I'm kind of getting to like reinvent myself a little bit. And yeah, that's kind of in a nutshell my
Yeah,
history.
wow, that's a lot. But really, really cool that you followed right in your family's footsteps. It was something that you actually were passionate about. Um, was there any point in time where it was just like a family business that you were a part of, or were you always really, really like excited to be a part of it? Like you said, you went to school for it. So is it always something, or did you ever feel sort of just that pressure because your family did own a restaurant?
For sure. So I have two other sisters, and we all always have worked at the restaurant, like since we were teenagers. So I did think, this is a little too predictable. I can't just grow up in this industry and work with my parents, my family, my whole life. So
Right.
I did kind of rebel a little bit, and I actually went to photography school
Oh, wow.
because photography was also kind of one of my other passions. And yeah, then through like just doing some traveling, I was in South America and Central America and Asia. And I decided I really want to go back to school, but I want to make sure that it's something that I am passionate about. And then so
Mhm.
that's when I decided to go to culinary school.
Ah, very, very cool. And so from culinary
Mm-hmm.
school, what was your first job in the industry?
So I did my practicum at the Vancouver Hotel,
Oh, wow.
which literally is right there. I can see it from my apartment now, which is really cool. Yeah, so I did a 3-month practicum there and I absolutely loved it. It was just so exciting to work in such a historic place. And
Mm.
it was the year of the royal wedding.
Oh,
So
wow.
we actually live streamed the royal wedding and we did like a really traditional English tea. And the hour was crazy. I think I started at like, I can't remember, 10 o'clock at night. And then we worked all through the night. So we were like streaming it live. And that was definitely one of my best experiences. But then through there, so after my practicum, I got hired and worked there for about a year. And then that's when I decided to take my skills to Europe. So I applied for a couple of chefing positions while I was in Vancouver. I traveled there, did some work experiences, and then eventually moved there a couple months later and started working for Wolfgang.
Wow, that's incredible. And so what was the difference from working in Canada to Europe? Like, was there any major differences? Did you feel in the zone or did you feel completely out of it because it was a different country and style and et cetera? Can you share maybe a bit more about that?
Yeah, it was actually such an interesting hybrid because so Wolfgang is Austrian, but he made his mark in LA with Spago in Beverly Hills.
Right.
So his whole team is American. So although like we had a huge diverse staff like from all over the UK, um, yeah, it kind of was very similar to what I'm used to here.
Mhm.
And it was also nice for me to kind of be like a fish out of water a little bit and not have all the security of like my family business and my friends and everyone. It was like, when I went there, I was like, this is just, I'm just going to work and I'm going to give like 100% of my time and energy to this job and just like soak up as much as I can from it.
So what made you come back to Canada after that experience?
So we were kind of going through a transition period with Lombardo's where we had definitely had to do some upgrading. We wanted to revamp the menu. We needed to do a kind of a big reno. It was kind of a time where like, so when we had sold in 2019, we had been operating for 34 years.
Wow.
So naturally things can kind of get a little bit stagnant and you always kind of need to be current and fresh. So there was a conversation that we had all had together and it was like, okay, if we're going to do this, we have to all commit to this for at least another, like, 5 to 10 years, just so we make sure that we're giving this a good shot. And that would have meant me moving back to Vancouver. So that's what I ended up doing. So I moved back, we closed for a couple of months. We did a complete reno, revamped the menu. And then that's when I started to take on more of like, an executive chef role at the restaurant. And yeah, so it was kind of cool because I got all this great experience in London that I got to directly take back and share with Lombardo's.
Yeah, that's really cool that you were able to step away from the business where you started. That's where you learned. That's where like all of your roots kind of came from. Go to a few different places, go to a different country completely, come back and bring those skills and et cetera. And so would you say that experience like really helped shape what you've been doing now? Like how did that kind of lead to you now being really creative online and videos and different things like that?
Yeah, so taking on more of a leadership role and executive chef role at Lombardo's gave me a lot of, as you said, creativity. And I've always been obsessed with cooking shows. I grew up on the Food Network. I shared a story where I got a TV for Christmas when I was about 11. And from then on, it was just Food Network 24/7, just in my bedroom at all times. So I've always really wanted to kind of have my own cooking show. And at that time, I had no idea the path in which to get there. But by having the restaurant as my foundation, it gave me a really great platform to explore YouTube and to do, live cooking demonstrations and that kind of stuff, because it gave me more credibility.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we're in such an interesting time right now where videos are king. Like anything you do on video is going to be successful for the most part. And it's cool that you kind of like had started that before video is kind of everything now. Are there major like lessons that you've learned or any like secrets to your success online and like learning YouTube?
I don't know if I have secrets because I'm still pretty new. But honestly, like I started, it's very intimidating. YouTube is one thing. I feel like Facebook and Instagram is a lot more approachable. And also blogging and that kind of stuff. But I was definitely intimidated to venture into YouTube. I started very slow. I just had my own camera. I watched a lot of YouTube videos on how to start a YouTube channel. Full circle. Yeah. And I just tried a bunch of different things. And like, I kind of took some pressure off of myself and just was like, if I try it and it doesn't look good, I don't need to post it. But at least I've tried something. Yeah. And that was definitely the hardest part, was just like starting and kind of making mistakes, but just kind of persevering.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's always one of the biggest lessons that I've learned. And when I talk to other clients or anyone else who's looking to start something, it's just, you got to start somewhere. A lot of people hold themselves back because they think everything has to be perfect. They need to be the expert in it. They can't put anything out there until it is like as amazing as, the top creators out there, but you have to just start somewhere. And I mean, I'm sure you look back on your first video to your last video. And even for that, sometimes it's special to look back at where you started and how you've gotten better, how you've learned, how you've like changed your creativity or adapted to your audience or whatever that looks like. But I always think there's something beautiful reflecting on like the first piece of creative thing that you put out there.
Yeah. Yeah. And also it's like, I try to remind myself, because I do get very like wrapped up and stressed. Like, I'm not doing enough. I need to do more videos. I need to post a video a day. And like, it's very easy to get down that rabbit hole of like, okay, this is just too hard. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like the whole point of this is just for kind of myself. So if I'm not enjoying it and having fun, then I got to just adapt and just do something that I actually do like, because then what's really the point?
Exactly. Especially if it's something that started off creatively and to kind of help that ease and make it's not stressful. You're right. It doesn't make sense to turn something into something that you're going to end up dreading and maybe cancel one day. Right. So where would you say you get your creativity and your motivation from when you are thinking of a particular video? Are you as organized that you have like a few things set up, or is it just like, this is what I'm doing today, I'm going to go for it?
It's definitely a combination. I'm really, really trying to be more organized with my content creation. But to be honest, right now, it's just kind of like, okay, I have the whole day free. I'm going to shoot a recipe, go to the grocery store. This looks great. I can make that. But I don't know if I recommend that style.
Yeah.
Because it is very time consuming.
Yeah.
But when I research and develop recipes, I'm looking for, what do I want to learn how to make? What am I looking up? And I like to think that my recipes are very approachable and simple, because what I think would be like the end goal, not end goal, but like what makes me really excited is when someone actually makes my recipes and they're like, I have never made this before and I made it and it's so great and now I love it and I make it all the time. So I like food that's approachable. I don't like all this like crazy gastronomic food trends. Like, I like it simple. And I think my Italian background also naturally lends to that. Italian recipes are always very, ingredient based, normally centered around 5 core ingredients. So that's kind of where I kind of like to focus on.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so with your Italian background, your family's restaurant was Italian, you create primarily Italian recipes and content. If you were to choose another type of recipe, another type of cuisine, is there one that you've never tried before that either maybe intimidates you or you're like really curious to kind of dive into?
Yeah. So I love Mexican food. Tacos are one of my favorite comfort meals.
Yeah.
And I've been meaning to go to Mexico City for a couple of years now. But yeah, definitely getting into like the real like traditional Mexican recipes, not like Tex-Mex or like not like a fajita bowl or something.
Right. Like really authentic. Yeah, that would be really, really cool. And so for you, the best way to learn is to like actually be in that country and like learn from local people.
Yeah, definitely. But like I said, like I watch so much TV and cooking shows, and like I'm very visual, and obviously now that's my only option since we can't travel. So I'm just getting all of this like, kind of inspiration that I'm just storing it up until I'm eventually able to travel again.
Right. Yeah. Put on your to-do list of where you want to go.
Yeah.
So that kind of leads into my next question, but maybe you already answered it. If you could work in any country in the world, where would it be?
Oh my gosh. Well, I don't know. That's such a hard one. I mean, I kind of feel like it should be something completely out of my comfort zone. So probably not somewhere in Europe. Because that would probably just be a little bit too predictable. I don't know, maybe like Japan.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Yeah, like that's, yeah. I was in Japan for a wedding when I was like 21.
Oh, wow.
And that was a really, really amazing experience. So I would love to go back there now and kind of revisit that food
Yeah,
scene.
absolutely. Yeah, I would love to go to Japan and experience the cuisine there. I mean, I can only imagine how like we think getting Japanese in Vancouver is good. Like imagine being in Japan and having
Mm-hmm.
everything like so authentic. Yeah, I can't wait for travel and experiencing other cuisines again.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we kind of touched on a little bit of your background with your love for like cooking shows and etc. I know you've been on CTV a few times and you've had a few other like actual TV experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So again, you've kind of come full circle of like your dream was to have a cooking show. You've kind of done little segments here. Can you share a little bit more about what maybe your first experience on TV was like, or like any of those experiences, if you have any like stories that you want to share with us?
Yeah. Okay. I was looking at a Facebook memory that just came up, and I think this was 5 years ago. I can't remember. Around 5 years ago, and I was on breakfast television, and it was August 5th because it was my older sister Elizabeth's birthday, and I made her like wake up super early and come with me and help me. And the segment was making pizza on a barbecue. So we were
Oh,
set
wow.
up in the parking lot at breakfast television. I was freaking out because that's like I literally like had to bring like, tablecloth and like all the ingredients and like, yeah, I tend to get very like not frazzled, but it's like once I focus, it's like go time,
Yeah.
Anyways, the segment ended up being super fun and it was great. And then at the end of the segment, the host was like, "Oh, and also Julia, it's your sister's birthday today. Let's wish her a happy birthday." And they
Oh,
panned to her, and she wasn't really expecting it. And she was like, "Thank you," and like did this weird bow, and I was like, "What the hell was
oh
that?"
no.
Yeah, it was like, oh my god, we rewatched
Oh.
that so many times. We're like, of
Was she
course.
more embarrassed or were you more embarrassed?
No, she was embarrassed. I thought it was hilarious.
Oh, that's hilarious. I love that.
Yeah. No, but I always do get very nervous before doing those types of live segments,
Mhm.
because having it live is one aspect, but having such a short period of time,
Right.
typically I have between like 5 and 7 minutes. So
Yeah.
making sure you're getting your whole recipe in and not rushing, but making sure you're, presenting it well
Mhm,
with a
mhm.
host, it can be challenging, but I really, really miss it now. So
Yeah,
hopefully one
yeah.
day I'll be able to get back in the studio.
Yeah, I honestly can't imagine that type of pressure, because again, you're live and you're also cooking something. I mean, the
Mm-hmm.
pressure already of like seeing your face speaking, but like cooking, and if something were to go wrong or just anything like that, I'm sure would add to like the pressure of everything.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's a
You
lot.
you kind of have to think about like every possible option.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly, exactly.
right down from like wardrobe to
Yeah.
like having backups. Like, okay, if this stage of the recipe doesn't work, I can
Mhm.
fast forward and show this finished product, or whatever it might be.
Right, right, right. Yeah, so crazy. All the behind the scenes of everything, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you have a professional mentor or someone who's inspired your career?
I have lots of really, really strong influences.
Mhm.
Um, Mentors, I mean, my family are huge, huge mentors. My mom is a businesswoman. So she's always super, she's my go-to person for any advice that I might need.
Mhm.
Um, through Lombardo's, we had a strong team of, management and marketing specialists and those kinds of people. So they also really, really influenced my growth over the years. But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say I have like one mentor that's my
like a
go-to.
collective group of people.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. That's awesome. What one piece of advice would you give to someone who wants to get in your field, especially in these kind of times right now with like the restaurant industry and closures here and there? Like what would you say to someone who's looking to do that right now?
I would say just start somewhere. But also I would say more specifically within that, with the pandemic, is don't underestimate the power of community and connections at this time. Because although all of our restaurants aren't open, we're all still here, and we do need that support and help from other people. So I started doing virtual cooking classes as a way of kind of bringing people together, because it's so lonely being isolated,
you know. It is, yeah.
Even if you're living with your family or your partner or whatever, and it's been going on for so long now that those social connections mean everything. So I would just try to keep that in mind. And also the pandemic will pass. Yeah. So use this time to like hone all of your skills, get prepared so that when everything's back open, you can hit the ground running.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really, really wonderful advice. Again, just to let people know that it will get better, things will change. If this is still what you want to do, like, don't be discouraged, just kind of keep going, etc. What were your reactions when things happened last year? Was there anything major that you had to cancel or stop doing, like any major plans or goals that you had?
Yeah, so I was traveling in South America. I was in Brazil and Argentina and Uruguay. Oh, wow. And then I was going to Europe. I was in Ireland, and I was about to start a culinary program. And this was in March, or this was in February. Yeah. So it was there was no travel advisories. Everything was completely open. And I was kind of living in a bit of a traveler bubble. Like, I knew things were kind of evolving, but I didn't know the extent. When I got to Ireland, I was there for 4 days. I was planning on like staying there for a couple of months. And I got a phone call from my mom being like, sorry, I don't want to be a buzzkill, but you might want to think about coming home. And I was like, Mom, no, like, it'll be fine. So I was definitely in denial. But I ended up coming home, and obviously it was the right call. But yeah, I pretty much had to restructure everything. I had hoped that I would have completed that program and then was able to get a job after that. Yeah. But another time, like, it'll happen again eventually.
Yeah, exactly. Was there anything new that you did, or you changed, or you added on to what you've been doing now because of how things have changed?
I've been cooking so much. Yeah. And I already cook a lot, but literally, like, grocery shopping every day. I don't want to go to the store and buy too much, because I want to like have something to do each day. Right. So just having the routine and like making recipes that I would have never made before, like very time consuming recipes. Yeah. Like doing like a stew that takes like 3 hours to cook or whatever. I did these really slow cooked yams one day, and they were in the oven for like 3 hours at like 200 degrees. I was like, let's just see what happens. Like, what happens if you cook a yam for this long? Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's so funny. I definitely fell into more cooking and baking as well. And again, it was just like, I needed something to do and keep creative, and having something to do that takes you outside every day was really big for my husband and me too. Is like, we wouldn't do those massive shops. We would do a shop every single day. So we got out of the house, even if it was for like an apple, just like you're getting out of the house. And just, like you said, trying new things. I was going to ask if there is anything like random that you made. Like for me, like sourdough was the first thing I tried that I failed completely on doing sourdough. But was there anything else like weird that you kind of tried out?
trying to think. Not anything weird, but what I started doing was I started to try to recreate some recipes from Lombardo's at home.
Oh, yeah.
Because I had missed Lombardo's food so much.
Aww.
Like I still get these intense cravings for certain menu items. And so I started making pizza at home, which was like literally I never did before ever, because I would make pizza every single day of my life at work.
Right.
So I got super into it. I got a pizza stone, pizza peel, made all the dough from scratch. I got all these crazy ingredients, and we would have pizza nights, and it was really fun.
Oh, that is really fun. And so nice that you like went back to your comfort roots, right? Like that's really, really cool. That's something that you did that.
Yeah.
I love that so much. Is there a resource or anything you can share that's been really beneficial to your career?
I would have to say my fellow chefs. I mean, that might be kind of a lame answer, but just talking to other industry people.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm thinking in this, what do you think? And like just having a back and forth conversation has always been super, super helpful for me.
Yeah.
And
sharing.
Even now with social media, like I think that's such a great tool to reach out to people that you don't know. And yeah, I think just kind of asking questions, asking experts. So I'm trying to do some photography at home, just with my basic equipment, and just like looking up other like food photographers on Instagram and watching their like IGTVs and that kind of stuff. It's honestly so helpful.
Yeah, I really love that. And it's really nice to hear that you are able to reach out to other people in your community and do that. And I'm sure that you're pretty open as well if someone were to message you, because it's so nice when you're able to share knowledge with someone who does exactly what you do, or you can learn from them, or vice versa. And again, it just makes the community that much more like friendly and special. And you know, you're not just looking at someone as a competitor, but you're looking at someone as like a really, really great resource, especially in this crazy year. Just having that like comfort and guidance as well, I'm sure is really, really helpful too.
Yeah, 100%.
If you weren't doing what you're doing now, what would you be doing? Is there any other career or any other job or anything you've ever wanted to kind of do?
No. Honestly, I don't know what I would be doing.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd be like a crazy hippie farmer or something. Like, I don't know, but like, yeah, I've always been kind of very like all about this, everything.
Yeah.
Chef and restaurant industry.
Yeah. Well, it seems like you're exactly where you need to be, which is really cool. So I have a few questions coming up that are a little bit quicker. So kind of like a speed round, but like whatever comes to mind, I kind of want that sort of answer. But some of them might make you think, so no pressure on that.
Okay.
But what would you say is your greatest professional or personal achievement?
Oh my God, this is a really hard question. I think just being recognized by my peers. I did the Home and Garden show a couple years ago, and that was a pretty big demonstration on a live stage. And that was super cool. That's probably been one of my bigger events that I've done. But pretty much anytime someone reaches out to me and is like, hey, that was pretty cool, I'll take it.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah, that's awesome. That's really, really great. What talent would you most want to have?
I wish I could play an instrument.
Yeah, me too. I actually have never learned to play an instrument before. I took like random singing lessons when I was a kid, but yeah, I didn't do an instrument either. Anyone particular?
Probably like piano or guitar.
Yep, very cool. What would you say is your greatest extravagance?
Everything. I'm so bad for like ordering way too much food when I go out for dinner. Like it's like not one of everything, but like it's all or nothing with me.
Yeah.
You know,
like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Let's get this and that.
Yeah.
Those are fun dinners though sometimes when you can just try a little bit of everything, right? What qualities do you look for in a friend?
Humor is a huge thing for me. Just kind of being like who you are, like having a strong sense of self, being adventurous, outgoing. Obviously you have to love to eat.
Yeah, eating is a prerequisite.
Yeah.
What would you say is either the best or the worst advice you've ever been given?
Worst advice would be like, maybe you should show some more like cleavage in your videos.
Oh, wow. Oh my God. How did you get that kind of advice? Was it like a comment?
It's just no, it wasn't a specific comment, but just like about maybe like, that's a very specific example, but about my appearance, like maybe you should look more like this, or maybe you should, maybe you should have your nails this way, or, you know, like,
yeah. So a very like Hollywood type comment of like, you need to be this way to be successful, or that sort of thing.
Yeah, but they're stupid. They're and they're all from men. It's like, and they don't even realize, right?
It's like, I'm just making food. This is not what I'm trying to do right now with my audience.
Yeah. Or it's like, if I have this like whole video, whatever, and like the one comment is like, oh, you should have gotten a manicure. Or like, you know, like that kind of thing. It's like, can't win.
So how do you deal with trolls and people like that?
I usually just ignore it.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you.
I kind of think it's funny. Like, I think it's like, I put very low importance on those comments.
Oh, good. I'm so happy to hear that, because sometimes those comments can make you just cancel everything and be like, that's it. I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm done. But I'm glad that you just kind of let it roll and not let it stop you from doing what you're doing, which is very hard to do for sure. What is something that you would say like you know enough about, and something that you want to learn more about?
I would say photography.
Yeah,
because it started out as just a hobby for me, and I was into like fine art, black and white film photography. So I'm not very well versed in the digital world, and also that was so long ago. So yeah, definitely photography is something I need to kind of get back into.
Yeah. What would you say is your favorite rainy day movie?
Oh, rainy day movie.
We've had a lot of rainy days lately, so.
Yeah. Trying to think. Oh, okay. I haven't watched this in a long time, but E.T.
Oh, yeah.
Very heartwarming.
I've not seen that in a long time.
Yeah. I can't remember why I was thinking about that, but E.T., like Titanic, those kind of like, you know, classics. Yeah,
classics. They're long, so you have to like know you're gonna sit on a couch for a while and like take it in, and you have nowhere to be, and you can just fully be into the movie. Oh, I haven't seen both of those in a really, really, really long time. What is the most stressful experience you've had?
Ever? There's been
maybe the first thing that comes to mind. Maybe with your career, if you want to focus on something.
I think just like the daily grind of running the restaurant.
Yeah.
You know, like we were so busy, and just it's hard to maintain your kind of enthusiasm and stuff when it's just like kind of madness, like, you know, every single day. That was challenging, but also kind of rewarding at the same time. And I would never complain about being too busy. I always was really, really grateful for that. So, but yeah, challenging, just kind of like, just stupid stuff like getting to work in the morning and it's like, toilet's plugged. Okay. Oh, this person called in sick. Great. Oh, okay. Like this order got screwed up. It's like the little things that just creep up on you.
Yeah. And again, a lot of that is behind the scenes stuff that someone going to your restaurant probably would have never known happened that day. But to you, there's so much happening and going wrong, or you're stressed about or whatever, right? And a lot of that is the behind the scenes business owner stuff that you have to deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really difficult. What would you say is the thing that you love most about yourself?
I'd say my willingness to take chances and risks, try new things. Yeah, that's such a hard question. I've never thought about that before.
It is. It's hard to talk about yourself and think about, you know, the big positive things for sure.
Yeah.
Who are 3 people, living or dead, who you would love to cook for or eat with?
Martha Stewart, Nigella Lawson, and Elton John.
Oh, I love that. That would be a really fun dinner party.
Wouldn't it be fun?
Yeah, definitely. I love that. I feel like you've thought about that before. You're very quick. You're like, these are the people. Do you already know what you'd cook them or what you'd want to have there?
Haven't got that far yet, but probably something extremely extravagant.
Yeah. Extravagant for sure. I love that. So we kind of talked about, you know, running your own business, being an entrepreneur, etc. How would you say that you avoid burning out and you kind of avoid just giving up everything and quitting? Like what kind of strategies would you say that you do?
Yeah, I'd say just kind of have achievable weekly goals. And this is something I have to remind myself too. Not always, but it's so easy to be like, I'm not doing enough. But if you actually are tracking your progress and you're like, okay, well, I did stuff this week, you know, I did this video, I made this connection, and just kind of keeping things into perspective on a small scale, because that's how you're going to get anywhere, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Just doing having those goals, like you said, achieving one thing at a time, not putting too much pressure on yourself. It's really hard to do that, but when you kind of break it down that way, again, you just don't have that massive pressure on you. What do things look like you for the next year, the next few years? I know that's a very difficult thing to ask with the changing of the times, but do you have anything that's happening this year? Any big goals that you have?
Well, I'm really excited to be growing my virtual classes. So I've done a couple last month, and I have a couple planned for this month. I have one coming up for Easter, which is going to be really fun. So I definitely want to work on evolving those. And then also, my YouTube series, I'm kind of working on a couple different concepts. One of them is #EasyItalian. So just taking recipes and just kind of putting an Italian spin on it, and just making them easy and approachable. So so hopefully, sorry, I keep getting a message.
Okay.
Just building those 2 projects. And it's exciting that I have enough time right now to actually devote to this. And so, I think I see hopefully, you know, big things for those 2 platforms.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it's great to have so much momentum and motivation to be doing all of that right now, which is really, really awesome. I don't think I've asked yet, but what is your favorite thing to make? Do you have a favorite?
I love making pasta so much. I love making pizza too.
Skill. Yeah.
But I just made a pasta recipe 2 nights ago, and it was so good. I cook for myself.
Share what it is. That's good.
It was a creamy tomato fettuccine ragu.
Ooh, nice.
It's on my Instagram, so you can look at the recipe.
We'll share that. We'll share that in the notes so people get it. Yeah, I'm so hungry already thinking about having pasta. I absolutely love pasta. I could have pasta every day, and pizza too. I mean, I feel like Italian food in general, I could have Italian food every day. I just love it. Load on the carbs, all of it.
Yeah, Yeah, same here.
Well, the last question I have for you is, what is your favorite thing about being a female?
Favorite thing about being a female? Oh my God, I don't know. Like everything, pretty much. I like that as females, we're more naturally empathetic and in touch with our feelings, more loving, and kind of just have a natural kind of nurturing, caring characteristics about ourselves, compared to men that are maybe more closed and competitive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that females can be a little bit more just in touch with their emotions and okay to feel vulnerable, and at the same time like lean on other women for support.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. Well, thank you so much for sharing everything with us today. Before you leave, is there anything else you want to share with us?
Well, definitely check out my YouTube channel, Just Giulia. And yeah, if you're interested in doing virtual classes, just send me a DM on Instagram.
Amazing. Yeah, we'll share all of those links with everyone. But thanks so much again. I'm very excited to continue watching you and see all the amazing things that you create.
Thank you. This was really fun. It's my first podcast.
Yeah. Oh, you did so well. Thank you.